Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Manga Graveyard.
We're uncanceled!
Yep,
Yay!
we are finally back, performing for you.
It took us a long time to read this manga.
Well, it took them a long time to read this manga.
Hey, I was the one getting the production value increased. Donating money to that.
Okay, so we are here this month reading Robot X Laserbeam, written by Tadatoshi Fujimaki, who you may know is also the author of Kuroko Basket.
The man's got a passion for turning sports from the most, mundane things
shit to the hypest
the
shit.
hypest shit.
Yeah,
And I don't mean any disrespect to sports fans. I love sports, but you know what I mean.
He likes sports too, because he keeps writing about
really
it.
loves sports.
You can definitely feel the passion he has for these sports.
Yes. When I was trying to do some research on him, see what I could find, most of it was on stuff relating to Kuroko, because that was his big seller.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows what Kuroko is.
Hopefully.
Yeah. He talks a lot about how he actually has, genuine passions for both basketball and golf.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, he's traveled to the United States several times just for basketball games.
That's kind of Chad behavior.
Mm-hmm. Interesting little tidbit on Kuroko. I know it's only tangentially related, but apparently his first editor was also the author of Hunter x Hunter and Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's how they're related.
Yes, he was the first editor, and they've been relatively close professionally.
That's cool.
That's rad. I had no clue.
I think it's also worth to mention this manga ran from 2017 to 2018 and has about, 63 chapters, right?
62.
Yeah,
62. So it's the longest we've done.
Yes.
So it ran a little over a year, which is not too bad, but it did get canned.
And it was clear.
Yeah. I guess that would be a good time to sort of address the elephant in the room
Yes.
with this manga.
Because in lack of finding any direct interviews on the manga itself, Pascal and Eddie were able to find something interesting that went on behind the scenes.
It's definitely not unheard of to hear of a bit of friction between mangaka and editors. You hear about it a lot, with a lot of after stories. Namely, how Naruto's editor is the one who pushed a character like Sasuke into being written, who was never prevalent in the initial concept. And you can see where that landed the series.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
I had no clue about that.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. I have heard, this is more through the grapevine, so it's not 100% confirmed. Bit of salt and all that. That with this series, the editors were really sort of on his case about trying to speed it up towards the more action-orientated things.
That makes sense, considering...
Yeah.
Yes, it very much does, considering a lot of the issues in pacing this series takes, where it just sort of jumps to certain moments that otherwise would have been organically
Played out
gotten
before
to.
us? Yeah.
Yeah, they're just sort of rushed past. And there are certain times where, probably in the second half of the manga, you could see where they reference things that happened off screen as if we were supposed to know about them.
And it's
I wonder if it's the manga wasn't doing well in the polls and stuff that Shonen Jump does. So the editor was just you gotta get to the good stuff. You gotta get people hype.
Which makes me wonder how in the original format of Kuroko, how it took off where this one didn't, and if the pacing was similar, or different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder how Kuroko flourished where this didn't, if they had similar pacing or not.
It could also be the sport.
Yeah, I think it was like a difference in just fundamentals of how the sports work, both in interest and how they're played.
Yeah, like
in
team-based.
Kuroko, even in the very beginning, you got like Kuroko's cool, dumb superpower where no one can see him. And, you know, that led to, like, even the beginning games being interesting. And then there was, like, you know, the generation of miracles that were later being incorporated. Whereas with this, it probably struggled to be very exciting for its demographic.
Mm-hmm. Which is a shame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, this guy...
I also very much enjoyed it.
This guy's...
Reading it twice.
This guy's a good writer. He knows how to make things fun. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's cover exactly where this series began and ended.
So obviously, this character you see here with the red hair and the glasses, he's our main character, Roboto.
I believe it was Robota.
Oh, is it Robot?
Yeah,
Well, you know, Roboto is his nickname, but Robota Hataharo or Hatahare?
Okay.
Hatohara, I believe.
Yes. Oh, yes, that's right. Hatahara.
Oh yeah,
is
Robota. You're right.
Robota Hatohara.
The first arc basically is our introduction, and was actually necessary because the way they present Robot, he's basically doesn't really have a passion for things. He does them just because he wants to like logically understand them. So the main starting arc was just to kind of nudge him in the direction of wanting to actually play golf, as opposed to just, okay, I understand how golf works, I'm good. I'm not going to join the golf club, which his friend was insisting he did.
Yeah, a big part about his character is he's like one of those highly logical, like over-analytic types who wants to know how things work, and he has no interest in competing in golf because he thinks it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Despite showing a really natural talent for it that we don't learn about until later, or at least the origins of it until a little bit later on.
Yeah, it's cool how at first it seems like a cliche, talent, like person born with, you know, the ability versus someone who like worked for it. That's what it seems like it's trying to be. Yeah. But they kind of spin it on its head later on, showing that he's been practicing basically his whole life by accident.
And then he still has holes in his game because of the way he practiced and because of his preconceived notions of how golfing works.
Yeah. That is something I did really enjoy, was that so obviously this writer is well known for his very outlandish maneuvers in his manga, and this series doesn't shy away from it at certain times. But
which is hence how we got the title, because the robot has his laser beam or his super straight shot.
Yeah, but I love the idea that like what makes him so good for a beginner is just pure fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
That's, as someone who enjoys very competitive things, people tend to skip over the fundamentals of things a lot. And
to learn flashy shit.
Yeah, to learn all the flashy stuff.
Because it's cool.
But but fundamentals are sick. They're what lets you do the cool thing. Like, shoot laser beam.
And basically, the main two things that get him the ball rolling in his favor, in his decision to join the golf club and progress, is that he initially wanted to have these two goons at the the golfing range, like the driving range. There it is. He's like, yo, could you stop like bothering my friend who really likes this sport? You guys are kind of being jerks, in his robot way. And then he shows them up by using his fundamentals unknowingly, and makes them like back off. And secondly, he gets challenged by an up-and-coming pro, this Miran Yozaka, I believe?
Yozan.
Who is,
Oh wait, wrong series.
basically, who's on his way to basically being like an international golf star despite being in high school.
The samurai, they call him.
Yes, with his EI drive.
Was he a kendo master or something?
Yeah, he was a kendo master. Scroll it down to the panel where he sheaths his like katana after he swings.
So this is from the opening game where he wants to go against Robot because he's like, yo, the way your like swings hit the golf ball, it made such a noise.
Perfect.
So he finds out that yes, Robot actually does have like crazy natural fundamentals, but he's nowhere near an actual golfer, and then thus issues a challenge like once you get better, I want to play you for real. And that's what gets Robot to go join the golf club despite his initial like, you know what, it's not really for me, I don't have any drive for it.
Drive.
So I guess the next game in this sense would then be
he has to like prove himself and he wants to become a regular in the
golf team.
The golf team. So he has to prove himself by like getting a certain score.
He has to get his 18 course par within 70 to be a regular on the golf team, and he also has to earn the respect of the other members.
Cool.
So yes, this game, where it kind of does, we see a small sort of time leap after it shows us like Robot basically diving headfirst into like giving 100% in every stage of his practice. He eventually goes out on the field with one of his fellow, golf club members, which is, I believe his name is, what is it, Rion, we said? Or was actually the name?
I forget his full name. It's something Rion.
I also forget.
But this part I really liked because it showed that even though they're two very different people, like between Robo and Rion, they both had the exact same thing in mind after seeing this guy be such an asshole.
Which was hit his cigarette out of his mouth.
So yeah, Rion shot a ball that was just supposed to scare him, but Robot is like, nah, I'm aiming for the cigarette, and hit it.
Out of his mouth.
And basically, this starts a golf-off between the two of between Rion and Robot and these two, like, thugs, basically. And it shows that while Robot has gaps in his game, he's also a super quick learner.
Yeah, this is the first real game we get to see Robot perform in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because we know he's got the laser beam, but he's also like a complete beginner who barely knows the rules.
Yeah, a lot of the time, almost every game up until like the last arc or two, Robot's also explaining like many like just tips and tricks and rules about the game that he has no clue about just because he only knows the fundamentals and how to hit a straight shot. But we also see here that if he sees something that's possible in golf, he's like, well, now I want to do it too, and copies Rion's Serpent Bite, or Serpent Fang, which is a curve shot to get you out of a tricky situation, as we see here on the screen right now, the Serpent Bite.
When I was first reading through this was a part that really got me excited. Because I don't know about you fellas, but if I see something cool, I'm really like, I want to do that cool thing.
Yeah, yes. There's parts later on that got me really excited, which then got me really sad that, we basically never seen more of that character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so many like teases.
There's a lot of teases. So yeah, basically
one of them we'll talk about very soon.
I was about to say, go ahead.
Well, if it's something very soon, you guys can go. I was going to kind of skip ahead a bit in the story.
Oh, I was just going to say, the next opportunity and where a lot of these things come to fruition is in the first big game.
Yeah.
Between Robato's golf club and the golf club from a rival school.
Oh, yeah.
Which also introduces a very prominent character.
Who never gets to do anything.
Oh, he does a few things.
He does, but the worst part is like, you see him on the screen right now, and he goes through every emotion under the sun in like his introduction chapter.
Yes, so they call him the Emperor, Suzaku Kyosuke.
Yeah, he's a rich boy that's just really, really good at golf.
He loves the challenge of crushing other golfers' ambition.
And he wants to crush Robot because Yozan Miura said that Robot was his rival when Suzuka wanted to be his rival.
Yeah, Suzaku and Yozan knew each other prior, and now that Yozan has called out Robot as his new rival, Suzaku is very upset about this, and it almost has like a yandere level kind of obsession with now Robot and Yozan.
So there's a part of his character that I really enjoy, which is that he's a huge shitbag. But what irks me the most about this series is, like, even in this game, especially towards the end, because shocker, our protagonist does get the lead against the big bad. Yeah, he gets the dub. But we learn that Suzaku was never playing at, like, his full capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And then we never get to actually see it.
Yeah,
but we see like a little sliver of it later.
Yeah, where he goes up against like
a little dweeb guy. No,
yeah, a little dweeber
in like the tournament later on.
Right,
yeah.
The big tournament arc that we get to see a part of,
where he's like -10 to that guy's like +5 or something.
Yeah.
So he's up 8 to the other guy's like average score. The next big game is EI Academy, which is our protagonist academy, and Tohoku High, which is where Suzaku comes from. This is where we start to see some of the actual like Kuroko influence start to open up.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, with one of our protagonists, his golf club, one of his senior members, whose name is on the tip of my tongue, but he's the magician of the wedge.
So actually, in the official translation, he's called the Wedge Wizard, which
oh my god!
I love. I wish he had more to do because he was so interesting, especially like at the end of the manga. They like tease us with him a little bit.
Yeah, he comes back as another pro.
Yeah, he's a pro, but apparently he's like really aloof as a pro and never like
and it's like
out with any of the other members.
Yeah, it's like so mysterious that he just became pro and
like I would love to see him get like a heel turn.
Let's see his 2 shots that we get shown off because they're worthy of putting on the screen.
Where's the Wedge Wizard?
Yes, here it is.
No, I think
it's the end of this. The end of the chapter before this is where it shows like that screenshot.
Yeah.
So yeah, their game starts off because they're the last group the second to last group that's seeded.
And there's a lot of fun characters in general.
Oh yeah, all of the characters that show up and actually have games are very intriguing and very fun.
Here it is.
The Wedge Wizard.
The Wedge Wizard. We have to show off his 2 shots because they're some of the coolest like special shots in my opinion as well.
He's got an approach of tech.
So it goes off that whole like that ancient like what is it? What system used that? Because it's based on like the whole 7 days of the week, the 7 colors. It's like Patchouli from Toho.
Hers is 5. That's the.
Oh yes. He summons the wind. So another crimson blade.
The backspin on his ball is so strong. It rolls into the almost.
But it misses. But then there's some wind.
Yes.
And then he also shows us right in I think the same chapter or the next chapter. My personal favorite.
Oh yeah, it's
Azure Bead.
Yeah, it's in another chapter. It's definitely on a different hole, which is that actually
19
up. That actually brings up another thing about this series that I like. I like it, but I also have a complaint. Is the way that it just kind of skips along the game to some of the interesting parts.
Yeah.
Which, like, every sports manga does. But with golf, it's, like, weird.
Yeah, because especially with the strong cast of characters that we have, almost every hole has the potential to be interesting even though you realistically couldn't pace it to see every hole of every game.
Like, even in this arc, we see some of the other characters, and then it kind of skips forward to where Suzaku and Robo are on the last hole.
Yeah.
Yes. And of course, the arc progresses with showing some of Robo's weaknesses, but he makes up for the clutch by finally discovering, I think, this is where he first discovers, like, the laser beam shot. Because he does, like, that low-altitude laser beam to get to, like, to score the victory.
And then after this, there's
massive time skip.
Yeah, so basically he does become a regular because of this game, but they skip completely over any type of training or high school shenanigans to him being a pro.
Well, there's another thing that does play into becoming a regular, and it's that their training camp that he's supposed to be fighting for gets skipped, and they go to see Yozan play a game instead in like a professional league.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Also, I love Robo's dad. And he's on screen.
We should touch on his dad real quick because he doesn't really get a lot of a spotlight.
Oh, yeah, he definitely had a backstory that we were never told.
Yeah, the only thing is that they hint that he used to be like a major
golfer.
Was it like a
international league?
Yeah.
Like he did like the Triple Crown. Like he won like the 3 biggest things.
And he's the one that taught Robo how to
swing the betterest.
Swing in the business zone, as they call it.
The business zone.
So yeah, the next is kind of like a mini arc where, since their training camp gets canceled, Suzaku shows up and brings Roboto to go watch Yozan's, like, one of his pro games. And then I think it's after that is where they officially call the time skip.
Yeah.
After this, like, mini arc.
Oh yeah, and he, like, wins a toilet.
Yeah, he wins a toilet, they don't take the toilet.
They don't take the toilet.
Oh yeah, and then there's shit kid.
Yeah. Fuck the kid.
The kid ruined one of Yozan's swings, but Yozan's too cool to, like, flip out on him.
I love the fact that they used it as, like, inspiration for him.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that chapter. But
so, when we get to Robo's first pro game, the guy Rion who had him teach his initial game is also playing in the same like series, and Robo's first opponent is this kind of like poser who's just in it for the ladies and like the prestige. And Robo comes in by parachute to make his first game on time.
yeah, I love the fact they're running late and Suzaku picks them up in a helicopter and then parachutes them in.
Yeah.
And this first game back in this tournament or this series shows us that Robot has definitely evolved from his earlier, like his stamina's gotten better, but it starts to also go into his newer weakness, I suppose, is that if he focuses too much on every shot, he tires himself out despite his improved stamina that he's gotten from working out.
And one thing I like about this time skip is his caddy is his childhood friend that got him into the golf club, and it turns out to be like a great caddy. He like knows how to work with Roboto a lot, and like
it's a perfect way to keep the character relevant.
I just wish, because they keep saying like, oh, he's such a good caddy, even though he wasn't that great at golf. He was always good at like knowing the wind and shit, when we've never seen him do that. So like they skipped over any of his characterization completely.
Yeah. It's not out of left field with
I don't know if that works.
but
It's on left green. It's not in the rough.
it's not in the sand, but because they do show, like, in the very beginning, like, one of the few things he really is knowledgeable about is golf.
Yeah.
Even if he's not, like, good at it. And
However,
he also knows more about Robo than, like, anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes a sense as a pairing.
Yeah.
But They come back to him asking him to, like, they come back to Robo asking Tomoya to be his caddy in, like, a one-panel flashback.
Yes.
And it's one of those things I really wish we got to see, like, the whole timeline of.
But you know what'll make you feel better?
Nothing.
No. Robo's second opponent in this tournament, and your favorite character.
Yeah! That will make me feel better!
So the main chunk of this game, they kind of brush over the preppy guy as kind of like a one-note dude, but then we meet Robo's real opponent for this game, Dorian Green.
Yes,
So-
look at him.
Look at him go.
So yeah, Dorian Green is just... They call him Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because he's like a 6'6" and like 100% muscle?
Yes, something like absolutely ludicrous.
And every drive he makes goes over 300 yards.
Yeah, he's not necessarily good at golf. He's just so strong he could hit the ball really far.
Well, I wouldn't say he's
he's not bad at golf.
considering
It's
he
just
got second in
it's
a
just
tournament like this.
his technique is strength.
Raw strength.
Yeah, it's just raw strength.
Yeah, like, look at that. They equate his, like, drives to cannon fire going off.
It's great.
Little explosions.
Or when he, like, hits the grass out from under the ball, they call it, like, Bigfoot sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, like his foot.
I love how he's just like an American guy. Like he just loves Japan, so he wanted to come here.
No, he's African, actually.
Well, but he loved Japan. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He's just a big weeaboo
He just-
who loves Japan, and he's here to golf for money. What an
yes.
amazing character.
And they become friends.
Oh yes, yeah. Throughout the game, they like respect each other as opponents and become good friends, and then we never see him again.
Well, Robo also buys him dinner.
Yes.
Robo buys him dinner. I'm very iffy about the whole thing about like why Robo is so.
Robo.
Well, his performance lacks at the very beginning of his match with Dorian, and I'm not really the biggest fan of why, but like considering the two previous games we've gotten to see, it makes sense.
Right. Because they don't want him to be perfect yet. So they have to try to find holes in his game somehow.
Yeah, but the idea of like, I psychologically wanted him to win because he's my friend, so I did worse. I don't feel it.
They at least try to attach it to his like mental exhaustion too, but
Yeah.
also the name of this game.
This Dorian breaking his golf club
Multiple times, I think.
No, this is the only time they actually show it break. I'm pretty sure.
When he was taking it out of the sand pit.
Yeah.
Well, also, by the way, I'm looking at panels of my own as well. This game is the Daizan Open, just for relevance. He wins 20 million yen and 1 million yen of vegetables.
And that was from he got a hole in one once, right?
Yes. So the million yen of vegetables was from a hole in one, and 20 yen for first place.
One thing I love is we never see Dorian's caddy's face.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's a.
And he also rips his pants.
Yeah, he rips his pants in the middle of like everything because he's such a.
That's a good panel.
I love this character. I love Dorian Green so much.
He's good.
So at the end of this game, Robot is kind of following script or like prompts from his caddy friend. But at the end, when prompted to like, so what's your big deal with golf? He tries to
want to defeat chaos.
Yeah. Basically, like his friend tries to like softball him and answer, like, I'll just try to focus on being my best and go as far as possible. He's like, no, my ultimate goal is to defeat Miura Yozan and then become the best player in the world. Showing us that Robot's come a far way from being like, man, golf's golf.
Yeah.
But this catches the attention of some silhouetted figures who we come to know as the pros that we'll come to meet in the next arc, which is the final arc of the series, the Vermilion Cup.
We get there somehow.
Yeah.
Let's see what chapter.
We have to show off all of the pros.
Yeah, at least get that part where we need to see every pro that we don't. Oh, we only get to meet one of them in depth. Unfortunately,
and we met him beforehand too.
Right, because he was spying on the game as well.
But
the pros are after this tournament, right?
No, this is
this
the
chapter.
Last tournament.
Oh.
Yeah.
Previous chapter. Where they introduce all of them.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's at the because first was the news interview between Roboto and this guy here, the runner.
I hate this guy. He's
this guy's a
shit.
Douche canoe.
Yeah, he runs the tournament. He's like a big golfer, but he's also kind of mean, and he was mean to Robo.
He's like a golf mobster.
And Robo
he bumped
told him
into
off.
Robo's friend in the hallway and was being rude about it. And Robo's like, "Yo, maybe if you apologize for your my friend in the hallway, I'll take a nice photo with you."
Atone for your sins.
So yeah,
and then we get to meet the cast that we never see again, except for one.
Yes. There's this old guy, which could have been cool. There's, old classmate, which
is our Wedge Wizard.
The Wedge
Wizard.
Karasuma Sota is the name.
And he's like, oh, mysterious. Whoa. How'd our classmate become one of these, one of the 10 best golfers in Japan?
Yeah, they call them the 7 World Wonders.
Yeah.
The Generation of Miracle. Oh wait.
Then there's man.
Femboy.
The totally not a girl character.
But women can't play golf.
He enjoys
Which honestly, I was excited to see.
He enjoys laying traps for his opponents. Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh no. Honestly, that's the playstyle I wanted to see the most. Yeah. I was really curious to see what that would be.
They are all interesting. The feral child. This is the one.
Who is the one we get the most exposure of?
Yeah, Robo versus him in the. What is it? That's the last.
The first round.
No, it's the first round.
But it's the last. But it's the last match we see, right? There's not another one.
Yes, it is the last match
we get to see of the series, but it is the first round of the Vermilion Cup.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Look at the flowery dialogue there. Again, this guy has such a good writing, diction, a flawless, phantasmagoric, ever charming,
ever changing and very passionate.
Ever changing. So cool.
The professor.
I personally would have loved to see the professor go against Robo because all of Robo's other opponents have been just the naturally talented,
crazy
I
ones.
golf in my own way. And that's the only character put forth who looked like he would have been on par.
Yeah.
Right, a mirror match, basically.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
The Twin Towers. I don't think the official translation has them called the Twin Towers.
There's no way the official translation carries that.
There really is.
I think
it's.
I
think it's something tower. I don't think it's the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
Wait, I could look it up. What chapter was this?
This is chapter 47.
Let me check real quick.
Yeah, because I came upon this when I was reading, and I absolutely lost my shit. I'm like, there's no way.
Oh my god.
And so, funnily enough about the Twin Towers, is he's a, I guess, evolved version of a character type we saw earlier. Because in the high school versus high school arc, our Wedge Wizard, our favorite guy, he goes against their, one of their newbies who just signed up for the enemy high school's golf team, and his whole gimmick was that he was just really tall and lanky. This is the fully realized version of that.
I'm you, but better.
Because apparently he has really good carry distance, so he also is kind of like a stand-in for Dorian Green, where he gets the big drives. But apparently he's also
mastery of moves that require dexterity.
Yeah, so I wonder what that was going to equate to.
Okay, in the official translation, he is just the Twin Tower, not the Twin Towers.
Oh.
He is just one, not both.
Just one. Oh my god.
It is interesting that they went with that. But, good for them.
And last but not least...
Absolute
this
king.
Guy who just has eyebrows for days.
With no weaknesses.
Mastered the principles of body, mind, and spirit. So he seems to be kind of like a side composite character of both Yozan and Suzaku in one. Even though Suzaku does show up at this tournament.
And look, here's looking glance to the side, Kurasuma, and we never know.
And that's it. That's pretty much it.
There is one thing in the seeding of the Vermilion tournament that I do like.
What's that?
If when you get to it, it shows like all of them, and not only is Kurasuma and Robo in there, but so is Rion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Rion did make it. It's very brief, but Rion is there and present.
Right there from the fourth to last. I think.
Oh yeah, here
on
Rion.
the right side, yeah, there's Rion, which I think is really cool.
Because I feel like that would have been explored on, for sure.
Yeah. And another thing, since the big guy who was running the tournament, since Robo
Slighted him.
Yeah, slighted him. He basically rigged the tournament so Robo faced every single.
Right, he would face every one of the Seven Wonders because they were expected to win their matches no problem.
Yeah.
So his tournament lineup would put them to put Robo on the path to fight every one of them at least once.
Yeah, here it shows that. So yeah, there he is laughing.
And then our the last surprise is Suzaku showing up again for his debut.
He is 23.
Suzaku's awesome.
He is awesome.
It's funny because he's not really my character archetype usually, but I love him. He's great. But yeah, so the final big arc, which eats up the remaining chapters, is the game between Roboto and our feral child,
the Wolfman.
And it's great because this is the chapter or the arc that hurts the most because it shows the potential of what every big game would have been like.
Yeah.
Because it starts off with a really cool thing of Robo is doing utter garbage. It's what the fuck's happening, Robo? And it turns out that's what the big trap was. Because not only was he going to fight every Seven Wonder, the guy who was organizing it, he made it so that the T, the flagpole in the T, was every hole, it was a different height. Mm-hmm. And that threw off Robo's accuracy because he could use the height of the T to judge the distance just by guesstimation and the calculation.
Also,
consciously,
this guy can smell out where the ball's gonna go.
He can smell the path the ball should go. So this is where you see probably the final instance of the author's dumb shonen sports power influence of this dumb motherfucker smelling the path the ball would go on.
And it's so cool because it just leaves imagination on the taste buds of what could have been.
Yeah, especially with
this is the last.
With all the people that they introduce. This is also funny how a mole takes his ball.
Yeah.
Or a mole stuffs.
It falls in a mole hole. It's so good.
Thankfully, he's able to reset his ball, but... and then this arc, while also introducing us to what the potential of this superpower kind of angle will be, it also delves into a lot of he's a genius player. He just can play by the seat of his pants because he's just a natural talent, whereas Roboto is a logic. They dive into that in a lot more depth over the course of this game.
Because he was born on a little island where no one really played golf, and he could just hit it wherever he wanted, and he got good at hitting whatever, wherever. Where
it's he takes a shot out of a tree, and towards the end, he lands in the rough, but the rough is so thin, it's basically nothing to him because his island was way more untamed, the golf courses. The grass was much rougher and all that.
If you can do me a favor and scroll all the way back up.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to point out is, as we all know from the podcast before, is all the way to the top, please. This one. This is probably the only manga we've read so far that has gone on for a year.
Yeah.
1 year straight, because this is the 51st chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And, given the way the cycle or rotation would work.
Yeah, because I believe mangaka only get off for Christmas.
Yeah, I think Shonen Jump skips a week around there. You're right.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so the idea that, like, this is one of the few series that we'll cover here that has gone a year. I do want to point it out that I feel incredibly bad for him that he's had to deal with all of these, like, the low scores on, like, the interest, like, the interest checks that Shonen Jump puts out. But he still manages to, like, keep it alive for a little over a year. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
But it's a shame that what ultimately happens.
Yeah,
Because... Oh, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, you could tell how passionate he is about golf, and he was enjoying what he was doing.
And he really tried to give it his all, because you could see so many things, like, in this, like, last pro game here, so many subtle things, like, we're seeing, like, steps of progression for Robo, where it's like the EX Laserbeam is like is now like a move in his arsenal that he can do a few times a game, where it's like, oh, now that's just like one facet of the character, and he starts to show new folds with things like where he lands in like at one point he lands in like mega deep rough, like you could barely see the ball, so he takes a stronger iron and like lines it up so that like the very front of it, instead of the flat piece, hits it and he hucks it out of the grass in like a perfect line from like super deep rough.
Using his like perfect accuracy. Yeah. That's one of the few things I was able to find in every interview I could find with him, is every time he always said he would be, like, his next manga after Kuroko would be a golf manga.
Oh, there's also...
Like,
a
passion in it.
Yeah, there's also, at one point in this fight, was it Ginro?
Yes.
He like...
Hey, Ginro.
Oh no, it wasn't Ginro, it might have been Dorian Green, who does the spinning. The spinning hit.
The backspin.
Where it's where he like...
where he like misses the first shot and then spins back around. Yeah, that's Ginro.
Yeah, and there's an author's note that was like, when I tried this, I hurt my knee and had to like go to the doctors.
He was a game of golf.
Yeah.
And basketball.
It was like when he's getting ready for a drive, he does like a big wind up, and he's like, "Oh, he missed." No, I didn't miss. I was just winding up, and
he was extra winding up.
But yeah, so of course, so it gets pretty dire. Throughout the game, it's interlaced with shots of Suzaku, like, basically breezing through his own game against some nobody.
Oh, and other pros.
Yeah, we do get, like, very few snapshots of the other, like, pros doing their thing.
Absolute king. There, you can see the pros, how much they're up. The uncrowned ace. Prankster.
Twin tap.
God, man.
But then we get, like, this shot of Suzaku literally picking flowers in the middle of a game.
Is he fucking with me?
And we see that he's eaten up from everyone else.
So he's probably, like, the best, or, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean he's the best here. He's just destroying this guy.
Yeah,
right,
he's
and
absolutely destroying
that's the last sliver we see of like what his true or full potential could have been, and he might not have even been full powered there.
Until we get to the epilogue.
Yeah.
So Robo gets pushed to the limit because it gets to the point where by like the 15th hole, but if Ginzu or Ginro wins one more hole at that point, it's over, just because there's no feasible way for Robo to make up the par difference.
And if they do par, like in a lot of games, they would go into overtime, and due to Robo's stamina issues, he can't really do overtime.
Yeah, he wouldn't survive it.
So that would be a lose condition for him immediately.
So yeah, it was a lose-lose either way, unless, what happened, Robo, of course, pulls it out.
And then Angry Man gets his comeuppance and gets hit by a cow.
And knocked into a lake.
That homie should have died.
Yeah. And this happened because you just scrolled over and I forgot to mention. I forgot to mention when I was talking. The way Robo solves his issue with the tee distance being like messed with, like the height of the tee.
The caddy figures it out.
True.
Yes. It's the whole thing is he puts his trust in Tomiya to tell him where to hit it.
So
And
basically,
he
yeah,
basically gets it in perfectly.
because instead of looking at it and letting his own calculations mess him up, he puts his trust completely in Tomiya to be like, aim me this way, tell me how far, and I'll do the swinging.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I want to point out while we're here is I love Ginro's cat.
Yes, I was about to say that. He just shits on him and like pushes his buttons.
Yeah, it's great because he just like pisses him off and talks shit all the time.
But sometimes
it works.
It's strategic because he knew that he had to like hit it farther than usual, so he pissed him off so he can get him to hit it harder.
And
in
he
one point
figured out the flag trick much earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to rein in Ginro in order to hit it properly.
And I was the only one, and me, and only me out of the three of us, was kind of wishing it... I thought it for a second until I quickly caught on. I thought his caddy was a tomboy at first. I was like, damn it.
Get owned.
Yeah, I got owned. So yeah, obviously, Roboto pulls it out.
In the tree.
Yes, yo!
He climbed the tree to hit the ball!
So good. So fucking cool.
One thing I have to point out is that I don't know shit about golf, and I don't know if you fellas know anything either.
Not really.
There is a point where Robo gets like a strike, a penalty in his match against Dorian, because he hits out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Dorian hits it to another golf course, and it is perfectly inbound.
I think because Robo hit it in water, which is...
No, it wasn't in water. It was just outside of a fence.
Oh, okay.
I guess because it was...
This man gets it stuck in a tree, and it's
but the tree's on the tree's on the course. And he had the option to remove it.
I trust this man's rule set.
I do too. He knows better about golf than me, but that's some bull. Homie hits it to another golf course and it's still in play.
And take it up with Mr. Golf, who created the rules.
I will argue with John Golf himself.
Oh yeah, we also see here that the author's seeding in Miura to be like really influential in like, I'm gonna assume every pro that we're introduced to in that like opening like ceremony, Miura has met them at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
it would have been really cool because he was always hyped up through the series of being like the person to bring golf to like a younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have loved to see him, interact with all of these and now pro level golfers. And
yeah, this is like, we get Genro's backstory here because even though he has Robo where he wants him and like it's his game to win, it's also where Robo, of course, starts to eke out his victory. So they give us
here it is.
This is
now. Yeah,
his little spinaroo.
Very nice.
The Genro Tornado. What a shitty
Genro
name.
Tatsumaki.
And yeah, so at the least, which I was at least a bit happy to see, is that after this game ends, obviously, like, the game finishes on the second to last chapter, or like right in the middle of the final chapter, and there is an epilogue. It's the very last thing we get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Robo pulling this out with not only like the long part of the golf club, but also just seeing like the wind come into play at the very last second and make a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cathartic.
Yeah. I also love this line right here. Ever since then I've loved playing golf because
he realizes
he's always
that,
loved
like,
golf.
The thing he loved about golf was never the accolades or like the championship stuff or anyone else. It was just he loved to hit the ball good.
This is
so yeah, as you can see here,
the final chapter.
At this point, every other pro has watched. Everyone is like, "Yo, this game is like crazy right now. Everyone needs to see this."
Mm-hmm.
And the last panel of our Wedge Wizard.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
His wedgiest appearance.
The wind.
And then the wind.
And this is, seeing him like actually really happy.
Yeah, seeing him like this is like his rawest expression of emotion throughout every chapter, and it's awesome. Ah, shit! I lost.
And he's like, "Good game, loser."
That's his stupid face, and he dies.
This is a good old mouth foam.
Yeah,
gag.
he dies from internal hemorrhaging and is never seen again.
It's true.
And then here he is. He made it because he apparently
And there's another time skip.
So yeah,
he did. Yeah, sorry.
this is the U.S. Open. So he made it, and this is hopefully where he's going to be facing Yozan Miura. There he
It's
is.
him.
And look at the drip.
Yeah, they're golfer dripped out.
Yeah, both of them dripping.
But they don't say anything to each other.
And then they do. And they call him Robert. That's right.
Yeah,
Please welcome from Japan, Robert.
Robert. Hat O'Hara.
Thank you all for the love you've given the series. Volume 6 comes out July 4th, and Volume 7 September 4th. Please look forward to Fujimaki Sensei's next work. I'm excited to see what it is.
I would love to see what it is.
Because this was a treat.
This was a treat. Fellas, I don't know if either of you have gone through Kuroko.
I've
It's
not.
a blast.
I'm going to now.
Yeah, I'm considering it now because of this.
The manga is good. The anime is also very good.
I've only seen parts of the anime.
It's production IG.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So let's just like clear like the air. The art and the writing in this top tier the whole way through. Like it was quality the whole time.
Yeah, you can.
I agree with that.
Anything else?
Well, I will say that he even makes a joke about it, I believe at the end of the second chapter, that a lot of his characters look the same from his last manga.
Oh yeah, I think it's at the end of it's one of those half chapters where it's like the eyes or the faces are very similar.
Yeah, it's like a he even calls Yozan like Aomine, basically. And not to take away from the art, because they're still very good designs, but like, he didn't really get much better in that department between the two.
Yeah, there were a few characters that looked very similar from time to time. But it was good. I could tell from like the first chapter, you could tell like, okay, this is written well. This is going to be good.
Yeah, even though there's actually a surprising amount of dialogue that between like actual just golf explanation and like, dialogue of what's happening, how things are going, it never felt like a chore to read.
Mm-hmm.
I do really like that there were more things that happened other than just being about golf.
Yeah, I wish there was...
Also true.
They are mostly reserved for the beginning part, obviously. But like, even things of like, getting to become friends with the golf club, or going to do after-school activities with your friends.
Yeah.
And how we meet Ginro is during one of these like little downtime chapters as well.
Yeah, that's why I wish they didn't do that time skip to when he was pro, because I love, when school shenanigans happens in between the, action.
Yes.
And we just kind of lose all that for the most part after.
It makes me
into pro play where golf is kind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder how early that pressure from the editors was on the author.
Yeah, it seems like it was pretty early.
Honestly, I want to say that it was probably like throughout its whole run, in that like it have peaks of it doing well compared to like last week's chapter and the week before that. and then it would probably hit slumps where it was like the least rated chapter of the series.
It's almost like you can see a roller coaster of like, okay, game's over, we're gonna get some little exposition and character building, scores plummet for some reason.
Which, I'm not surprised. It is Shonen Jump. Its demographic is like young and teenage boys.
I can totally see why it was canceled, or like why a lot of people probably wouldn't enjoy it too much. I mean,
I wish it could have gotten moved to the web version where there's like less restrictions and less pressure. Like Chainsaw Man, just not to be like totally unrelated, its continuation is going to be on the web version where there's less like the age restriction stuff isn't as strict, and it's more in the author's hands to do what they want with it, which I think this could have benefited from being pushed to that instead of being axed.
I agree, but I want to say that they're probably didn't have it or have it as well back when this was still running.
That's probably true. Also, can we pull up chapter 22 real quick? I found Azure Bead, and I want to see it.
Before we move on, one other point I do want to make. Well, fine then.
well,
sorry.
yeah, I'm just.
Was it
I'll stay right
on the
here.
screen?
It was on the screen.
Oh, okay. I'll go back.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Is that if you see the cover of Shonen Jump with Robot X Laserbeam's debut, every other series that is in there got phenomenally popular.
Yeah.
True.
Like, you have Dr. Stone right there. That one Hot Spring series that got an anime. Psyche K, Black Clover, Haikyuu.
They all have anime.
They all have anime. Some have had multiple seasons.
Haikyuu.
Haikyuu, Dr. Stone, Psyche K. Black Clover's still going.
Yes.
Those
Clover's
Dr.
popping
Stone.
off.
Yeah, Black Clover has been popping off. It ain't never stopped popping off. But that is probably like a misfortune that is attributed to it as well.
Oh, yeah, it was running. It wasn't not good. It was just running against peak competition at the time.
Yeah, like I want to say probably Bleach was still going on during this time.
No way. This is 2018.
2017?
When did Bleach end? 2016?
I'm pretty sure earlier than that. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Look it up.
One Piece is still going on.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm pretty sure this is also probably Boruto. But I could be mistaken.
So yeah, the original run of Bleach concluded August 22nd, 2016.
2016. Okay, so
I mean,
yeah.
Close though.
Yeah, but okay, so disregard that point, but like this was still up against some pretty big thing. Hero Academia is definitely in here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, chapter 22.
Yes.
I need to see the
Chapter
Azure
22.
Bead.
Yes.
Our Wedge
22.
Wizard.
I did just want to bring that up though.
Oh no, no, that's a great point. I didn't even notice.
Condolence for this series.
Gotta keep going. Here it is. Oh wait, no, it's
Also,
after. Oh yeah,
we never get anything from this guy, which sucks.
he's the
He's
third member of the golf club that isn't the captain.
Yeah, he's
The captain gets
we
written
get-
off because like an elbow injury, and that's it. He's relegated to like just showing up every so often.
And even then, the other guy, this guy shows up because his sister's like the coach, the manager.
Right. But yeah, he skips it across the pond. Azure Beam.
Yeah, see, the water particles right there, that shot, are so good looking.
Yeah. It's cool.
All right. So I know we kind of mentioned it here and there loosely, but I don't think we've heard Pascone's direct answer. Favorite characters?
I love the Wedge Wizard. I just wish he had more.
Yeah.
Because he would have easily been. I could tell that he's just the character type I like. But he just didn't have enough going yet. But besides him, probably Ginro.
Ginro's rad. That's a great option.
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
So as I was reading it through the same website that you are currently reading it, I'm not sure if you're familiar that it has a comments section.
Oh yeah.
And I was seeing a few comments just about like every other chapter, more towards like the Daizon Open and the Vermilion Cup that I don't give people like this any sort of claim, but they were saying that Robo kind of loses his
Luster?
tree. Yeah, he loses his luster and becomes like a bit more generic once he starts having a passion for the game. And I have to say I wholeheartedly disagree with that idea.
Me too. That emotional moment at the end was awesome to see for him.
It was an entire build-up of, like, the whole series. Of just, you see him in the beginning and he has no passion. At the very end, he's screaming his gourd off.
So, Eddie, your favorite is Dorian Green for sure.
My favorite is definitely Dorian Green.
With Asada Suzaku?
And Asada, yeah. I would have to say, because both of them, they're so charismatic. In, like, throughout their whole, throughout the whole times that they're given screen time. But, of course, Dorian gets a lot more of that screen time. Because he's an antagonist for an entire game.
Right. So in the similar vein, I think Rian is actually my favorite. And ironically enough, I can't really remember his full name, but I wanted to see so much more of him. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah.
He's a great mentor in the beginning, and he clearly had the potential because he was keeping up every step of the way. We just never got to see what it amounted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Wedge Wizard, because also I just love his abilities and like his golfing is like my favorite. He has my favorite golfing for sure.
Because he's so good at that, like, approach that I really wanted to see more of it.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, had there been more time, and had it continued, the Vermilion tournament arc would have been awesome.
Yeah, him going against the other, great golfers, and seeing
and
how
also their matches with other side characters, even.
It would have been crazy.
So that's something this Tohoku arc does really well, is I loved seeing the other people who weren't Robo golf.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like those, like, anime squad battles that you see where it's like, you guys go ahead, I'll take this one.
Yeah, as the group dwindles down and everyone kind of pairs off.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a testament to how good of an author he is, because... obviously some people will disagree, but personally, I felt that, like, even when Robo wasn't the focus, and it was, like, focusing on other people's games, it was still interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think every character had enough of their own dynamic, whether it was because they played golf really cool or because they were a cool character, they were enough to carry the side, like, the branches, if you will, when it took a break from Robo.
Yeah, they were able to definitely carry the series in my to me at least.
Because having seen the full Vermilion Cup and seeing him fully earn that chance, the spot in the U.S. Open, and because even if it was just long enough to, like, have the actual final game between Robo and Miura at the U.S. Open, even if they glossed over the rest of the people at the U.S. Open, which would have been a great opportunity for other characters, don't get me wrong. But if we just gotten just a little bit longer to see their final game, I feel like that could have gone a long way in making the cancellation not feel as bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does end in a good point, at least, like it makes sense. At least they finished that match, I guess. But compared to some of the other endings we've run into, it didn't, like... it didn't feel like the Ethernet cord got, like, ripped out. It at least, like, it ended the match with a win on, like, a really triumphant win, which showed, like, gave you an idea of how every other game would have gone without the actual fun and detail of it, and to show that, yes, he would, of course, make it to the Open. At least they epilogued it.
Yeah. We don't get to see who wins the game between Yozan and Robo, but that's never what it's been about, and it stays true to its heart of, like, we want to see them play. We don't care who wins.
True. And now you say that, I'm going to steal that a little bit and be like, yeah, it was never about who won that match, but it was about the passion, like becoming passionate about golf.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to like end it off rather than trying to like rush to a winning conclusion. Now, you know what? I will rescind my statement that, you know what? Yeah. Having it end off with like the message being like, it's just golf's cool is actually a good way to end it given the circumstances.
Yeah. So I'd say if you like golf, read this. If you don't like golf and you want a fun little ride, read it. It's not a...
If you don't like golf, give it a try.
Yeah,
not golf. That's just expensive. But like, my dude, give it a try. Read the manga.
But,
make like Robo and give it a shot.
But just expect that most characters won't have their full arcs done. Expect a lot of loose ends, but it is a fun little ride.
Yeah, that's a good way to sum it up. Like a lot of loose ends, but the action when the action is being driven, it drives.
Drives.
Iron.
Five iron.
I give it a 5 iron out of 5.
I give it a driver out of golf.
Drive.
Well, it seems like we've said everything we have to about this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That last tidbit about looking forward to
his next series.
I most certainly am.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I don't know if he'll do basketball again. I don't think he'll be able to give golf another shot.
No sports, maybe?
Well, I feel like he just likes sports too much to want to write about something else. I would love a pool/billiards manga from this guy.
Cool.
He could do that perfectly.
Exactly. And it still is that kind of sport where like basketball, the things that you actually do can hinder your opponent, whereas with golf, we touched on this at the beginning about the differences between golf and basketball, but golf you can't really
even
Suzaku
actively
mess with your opponent.
Suzaku says it himself. There's no offense or defense in golf.
Yeah, you just gotta shoot your shot the gooderest.
And it's all about your opponent's shot.
Although, like, of course there is, like, psychological things at play. Like, during the Vermilion Cup, when Robo hits, the same shot Ginro does completely to the hole.
Yeah.
That was sick.
I would love to see a poker anime.
Ooh, that'd be really cool.
Because now this is no disrespect to fans of the series, but I think was it Kakegurashi or whatever that series is? Kakeguri has sullied poker in anime.
But luckily, it's not all about poker.
Thank God, yeah, because it's more about gambling. But like, I think poker by association has kind of been tarnished a little bit. And personally, I don't mind the series, but you know how things go.
Mm-hmm.
I most certainly do.
So
I mind that series.
I would like to see poker maybe get a shot in this kind of format.
Oh man, poker, but it's about cheating, and everyone's got their different cheating techniques.
Yeah! My ace in the hole!
Ace in the hole!
What about you, Pasco?
I don't know. Yeah. I can't tell what I would want. I think it'd be cool to see him do something other than sports, just to see what he could do and what he would choose. Like, if he's passionate about something other than sports, or like if he could come up with a cool shonen or something. Because I mean, he has these cool powers and stuff in these, normal settings. Maybe he could do something with that. But
being
sports
able
are cool.
to make,
if he did like a standard like shonen fighting series, I would be down for it. I think I'd still be excited
because he has the art style, I think, for it.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly. And being able to make the mundane impressive or fantastical is a really good sign for being able to make just the fantastical in general, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because rule of cool is cool because you're bending the rules, not just like completely subverting them. So if that's like the foundation that you go off of, if he makes something that isn't just sports, but like more kind of like rule of cool of something else, I think that would be rad as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Fujimaki Sensei, we are definitely rooting for you.
Yes, we are your
Absolutely.
fans.
Wherever you may be in this star system. We look up at the night sky.
I'll read Kuroko's Basket in your honor, in hopes that your next series gets it big.
I should finish that as well.
I should
We could get
start
together
it.
for the movie.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay. Seems like we're done with Robot X Laserbeam.
Yes.
But that does not mean this podcast is done. If
We
you
are
know what
not
I'm saying.
canceled.
We're not getting canceled this time.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It might still be in the bureaucracy, but at least in the present.
Fellas, we have a wide list of canceled manga that we can choose. What do you guys want to read next month?
Well, you know,
I did mention his previous work earlier in this podcast. The author of Naruto, Kishimoto Sensei, did have a new manga that was recently canceled.
You don't say.
oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we have been looking at manga from some pretty big mangaka.
Yes, we did the author of Bleach. We did the author of Rurouni Kenshin. I think we should take a look at Kishimoto Sensei's newest work, Samurai 8, right?
Yes.
Samurai 8.
So, everybody, if you want to know what happens without us explaining it next episode, feel free to read along until then. But if not, we'll, go through it like usual, trying to get the most important bits. But next week, or not next week, next time.
Next time!
Next time, whatever that may be, hopefully in a month,
It should be a month at most.
Yeah,
Let's call it that.
we'll be reading and talking about Samurai 8 from the creator of Naruto.
Masahashi Kishimoto.
Yes.
And if you enjoyed this podcast and you have enjoyed Robot X Laserbeam, we would love to hear about it down below in the comments section. And hey, while you're down there, please like and subscribe.
Yeah, did you read it previously? Did you read it after this? Did you not read it at all? What'd you think?
Has our discussion maybe changed some opinions you've had on it before?
What do you think of golf?
What do you think of me?
You're a cute little boy.
Aww.
Who raises his hand to speak?
Look at my hand go. Go, hand, go.
Okay, thank you all for watching. See you.
Everyone have a great one.
Yes, see you in the next one.
Adieu.
Bye-bye.
Woo!